just want to move on a little bit to your solo stuff, and because the flamenco guitar work, I think a lot of the guitarists, that, at least that are on the chat listening to, they know just how good you are. Maybe some of the people that know you from Billy don't know about the flamenco side as you. What is your approach when you come to a solo record? Do you say, okay, this record I'm going to go more of a rock vibe, or this one's going to be flamenco? Or do I blend them all together?
Right. The way that record came about was I had done the record with Vince Neil, and we were out on a road with Van Halen. And during the course of, we opened for Van Halen, and I'm like, the last thing I'm going to do is go out there and do an electric guitar solo, because in about an hour, Eddie's going to come out and play Eruption. and it'd be like,
I know it. Yeah,
move along.
Yeah.
So I had started on flamenco guitar. It was the first teacher that ever really meant, that I really, really was passionate about, was a guy named Nicholas Zaninovic, and he was a Romanian gypsy. He had escaped the Nazis in the Second World War with only his guitar, and he put everything. I mean, the minute this guy picked up the guitar, you almost cried, because his soul was transmitted through his fingers. It's incredible. And I said, I don't know what this music is, but I want to learn it,
Were you like Steve Martin in The Jerk? This is my music.
I wish it was that easy, but cut later. And, after the Van Halen thing, it was kind of the height of the excesses in every which way. I couldn't play any louder, couldn't play any faster, so it was time to kind of like reassess what I was doing. And I went to see Paco de Lucia at the Wilton Theater, and it's 3,000 people, and people are dancing, and their women are, like getting emotional over music. And I'm like, it's on such a high technical level, and females like it, and everybody likes it because it's beautiful. It's not just, you don't feel like there's scorecards being held up after he does a flurry of notes or something.
Oh yeah.
And I just like went, wow, there's a way for me to do something technically flash, but still entertain people who maybe don't give a crap whether I'm playing guitar or whatever. So I decided to do, to put away my electric guitar for a year and do this flamenco-based record, which took me from France. I worked with people in Bordeaux, in London, in Tokyo. And I mean, all I did was bring my guitar around the world with me, and I really felt connected to being a guitarist, and not the excesses of, I just get on a train and go and work with somebody. And I finished mixing the record in Hawaii, and it was the most fitting, stress-free. It's one of the few records of mine that I've played on that I can listen to and really enjoy. Most of it is what it's like,
I remember going to your place years ago, and you playing me a couple of these. They might have been the demos for this, or they might have ended up being
probably.
And I just remember sitting back going, man, this is a completely different side of Steve Stevens that people are going to check out and see, because at the end of the day, most of the people that have listened to you with Billy Idol, they know you as a gunslinger, and you have, I love the fact that you've always been sort of a Marshall type player. I know you played Marshalls, but you have a lot of new equipment. You always are you've been playing with Boss Effects, I know, for many years back in,
Sure.
But what currently, because I just saw you, I think I just saw you
a
year ago at a festival or something. And I was like, what is that sound that he's getting? So maybe, without spilling all the beans, maybe give some of the, guitar geek in me a little bit of the secrets of what you're playing these days as far as guitars and amps.
Sure. My older Marshalls are just not roadworthy, and even things like some of them, the recording Marshalls I have are from the late 60s, and I've had to have filter caps replaced and things like that. They're just not roadworthy. So probably about 20 years ago, I hooked up with Dave Friedman, who was just doing effects boards and things like that. I had one of those. I'm guilty of having one of those massive rack.
You're the reason why I
a
had
nuclear
such a big pedal
reactor
board.
on the,
Yeah.
So, but it did everything, but you kind of lost the original guitar tone with, you know, we were still experimenting in the 80s with that. So Dave helped me kind of, you know, get back to maybe the original sounds. And I gave him my original Marshall that basically it's one amp that's on Top Gun and Whiplash Smile and the Michael Jackson.
So you have that special, is that one? Because I have a Marshall JCM 800 that's kind of my go-to, that's been on almost every record that I've played on. And it's a JCM 800. And
yeah, this is an old Plexi, and it's, you know, you got to turn it all the way up to, you know, the thing is loud as hell, but
it moves air. It moves air.
Does. It does, and it records really well and takes pedals great. But anyway, so Dave said, you know, why don't we try and clone that amp and, you know, and put it in a master volume so it doesn't have to be on 11 and all, which was what we did. And eventually, you know, over the years, Dave refined his amp making and then started his own company. And then I have a signature amp. We're actually coming out with version 2 of the amp that is a little bit
series.
more.
Okay.
Yeah, it does a little bit more. He's got a very cool feature happening in his amps where on a foot switch there's a separate master and a separate gain which are linked together. So if you go to a solo, not only do you get a little bit more saturation, not distortion, but saturation, yeah, but it also, the amp gets louder. So you really are like, you know, your sound man is, you don't need a sound man. You're right. Your own sound man at that point.
You have your own boost. And this time everybody can hear you.
In the mix, yeah.
You're in the mix. I love it. Hello folks, Roxie here. Thanks for watching the video. And if you liked it, hit the subscribe button or one of the videos around me to watch more. If you'd like to, please leave a comment. If you didn't like the video, maybe you'll forget how to type. Thanks.